Hello and welcome to my channel, Eventual Digressions. It's been a while, I think 3 to 4 days since I have posted, but I really wanted to do this right. I wanted to talk about Manchester United. Yes, the international break is going on, and I thought I wanted to. I kind of pondered, I've been pondering for a while about the club, about the greatest rivalry that my club has with this club, my club Liverpool. And I think I really wanted to come across from a very neutral perspective as much as possible, if you know what I mean, and kind of dissect what's going on at the club. And I know there's a lot been said around in the last 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years, and there's nothing new to bring in. But just wanted to talk a little bit about what I feel, how it's going on, and also how I look at football, both from a commercial and a sports perspective. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the correlation between American sports with football as we know and love, because there's a huge American influence here, because you know who the Glazers, who own the majority of the shares for Manchester United club. So yeah, I just want to talk about that and break it down for you guys to understand, and even have a conversation in the comments, what you feel about it. And I want to be as neutral as possible, as I said before. So let's start with what's going on at the club at this moment. Manchester United are kind of in shambles. They're 13th or 14th in the league. They have finished 8th in the league last season, and I feel projecting a lot of our frustration, or the Manchester United fans' frustration towards position in the league is a little short-sighted. There are plenty of clubs who have had a really down season and then come back, like top clubs, and Manchester United is one of them, because we all know about the Munich disaster that happened and the way the club bounced back after that. It's one of the most legendary stories in football. So there's nothing debating the mentality and the fabric that the club has, the greatness and the history that the club has acquired since then, with the Busby Babes and then the Sir Alex Ferguson era, where they knocked off Liverpool off their effing perch. If yeah, I spent countless painful evenings watching my club play, and watching Manchester United win league after league, even a few Champions League. So, and maybe they would have had more Champions Leagues if they did not bump into the golden era of football in Barcelona, that team that they had, right? A little bit background on what I want to talk about is that the rise and fall of Manchester United. So I would not say that Manchester United has risen and they have disappeared, right? What I mean by that is that football, as we all know, comes and goes in cycles, but there's a particular level of consistency that is maintained by a few clubs for a long period of time. And United stuck in 13th is not a testament of how bad the club has been doing in recent times, but it is more indicative of where the club has fallen. Again, looking at the table is kind of short-sighted, but I feel that the progressive decline that club has encountered is very alarming, right? Because I feel Glazers has a big part to play in that, obviously. And although one can say that Glazer has overseen a successful period under Sir Alex, but I feel that football has changed a lot since then. And also, not to take anything away from Sir Alex, I think um, um, football has become more competitive as well since then, in terms of the TV money that has come in throughout the league. It is not very easy to be to just cover the cracks hide the cracks and kind of like wing it, uh, so to say. And most of the clubs, whether we like it or not, Manchester City, yes, a lot of oil money, but look at how they run the club, right? Chelsea had a different approach under Abramovich, but the primary goal for each of these clubs and the ownerships was what's going on in the pitch, right? What's going on in the pitch, and how to make it better, whether it's being relentless like Chelsea has been, or by being masterful at appointing good behind the scenes people like Manchester City has been, with the facilities and slowly progressively doing what they did in terms of building a dynasty, and then kind of carving out their youth system in La Masia style, I would say, so that it suits Pep. I think Pep's arrival in Manchester City was quite predetermined and really set up for him to succeed. A lot goes on behind the scenes in terms of the culture, the facilities, and the way football is played, right from the grassroots of the club academy to where the club's main team is playing. Because there can be dearth of talent, experience, there can be differences in that, but if you look at Manchester City or someone like Liverpool, or any club, even Bayern Leverkusen right now, Real Madrid to a certain extent, Barcelona, the DNA is imbibed in them in terms of how a youth player plays in those clubs is how the senior team plays. And also the appointments of managers are really based on that, right? The appointment of managers are really that suits that style of play. If like there's a change in appointment, so to say, even Atletico Madrid, right, huge example as to how they play football. And yes, patience runs low in today's game, but I think from a Glazers perspective, I don't know if you know, many of you might know that Sir Alex had a small part to play in contributing towards how Glazers acquired Man United. If you have watched the movie Batman Begins, you will know how Christian Bale bought off, or Batman per se, Bruce Wayne bought off shares in the background via different companies and charities, and kind of got the majority of the ownership. If you don't know that, please look it up. There are lots of YouTube videos and behind the scenes how Glazers got hold of Man United as a majority shareholder, because they were a minority shareholder in the beginning, right? And Glazers are famously, like, what to say, for lack of a better word, from a fan's perspective, yes, they are one of the worst owners that you can have, but from a business perspective, they are one of the smartest people. They are very smart about acquiring institutions and kind of like milking it, and to especially buy institution like Manchester United in debt, and taking the debt, not repaying anything on the debt from their own money, and uh, paying it back as like just dividends of millions and millions of rupees, sorry, I'm saying pounds, and now it has kind of become in the billions for the debt that they have, right? It's incredible, like the way to run a business. So essentially they kind of acquired a huge business, which is a marketing machine, it's a money making machine. Manchester United is a money making machine. They have the highest biggest fan base globally, and there's a huge reason for that. The one is that the football started getting telecasted all over globally, especially in Asia and some other countries, actively in the 1990s, like early 1990s, I would say around 93, 94, or maybe slightly earlier. And then that's the time United started winning everything. So their successful era under Ferguson kind of coincided with global telecasting of the Premier League, which obviously there's so many fans because of that, of United, loyal fans. right? So that's why they are money making machine. And um, yes, for certain owners like FSG for Liverpool, they always equate how the team plays on the pitch to how much money they make, but it depends on from situation to situation. In Manchester United's case, it was a well-oiled money-making machine. Like they didn't have to do much, but they were also very conscious about the brand and PR and everything, as we know, right? They were very conscious about that. And they what they did is that when Sir Alex Ferguson left, that team was in their last legs. I would say Robin van Persie had a huge role to play in for them winning the league in Sir Alex Ferguson's last season. And then there was bound to be a huge transition. And David Moyes, um, I don't know, he is a good manager, but there needs to be something in terms of like an iconic mentality to take over a club like this. No one can predict obviously who will do well, but my 2 cents is that David Moyes wasn't the right guy for that, in my opinion, right? Um, so um, uh, so what happened is that the recruitment was highly based on player brand value, right? Like the Di Marias of this world, the Paul Pogba's of this world. So it was all about the brands like the Cavani's of this world, the Ibrahimovic of this world. So a system or style of play was never developed. The way the recruitment was done had nothing to do with how the grassroots or the academy players played. Um, um, we all know that Ed Woodward was a marketing genius, and he I mean, I don't know him personally, obviously, but he seemed like a guy who could get great deals done, commercial deals done, but he is not really a football guy. So I think he was really getting excited in terms of what deals are getting done and everything. He really made a lot of money from Man United, but in terms of getting players, that perspective was applied, right? Now, where American influence comes in here is that American sports is starkly different. Right, like American sports starkly different. Number one, because they are a capitalist country, and the way they do sports is very different, right? And slowly it's spreading all across the world. Obviously, we had a concert. We'll be having a concert in Champions League halftime or something. I don't know. This is like weird, but what the difference is that, especially let's take NBA as an example, that they have a huge their youth system is generally the college system that they have, right? That's how they scout from the high school good players, then they come to the college system, and then from there they get drafted, right? So that draft is a big part. So that is kind of setting the mentality from the beginning. So they have the draft system from you're getting a mentality, the way to get in, and there are plenty of examples of drafts not doing well, like high picks, and some of them doing really well. But the English Premier League or football in general doesn't have a draft system. So what American sports does is that get a good core of the draft players, okay, and it's a never ending supply, right? It keeps coming, and from G League and other places, whatever, have a separate quota for the veteran players, because they have a salary cap, which is very important. It's very different from financial fair play, but they have to meet the salary cap or they have to pay really high taxes. And then they sprinkle it with star players. But at the end of the day, uh, that whole system works. So they make it work. The whole system works in the way where they are able to do the commercial aspect of things, of getting players like that, and also having that draft system. And also there is zero loyalty in American sports. Mostly, like, I won't say zero loyalty, but there's less loyalty. There are players moving around rival clubs like all the time, like for example, Los Angeles Lakers and Celtics had a lot of players which played for each other, and they're historic rivals. So it doesn't matter that much. And then they have this period where um, mm, certain teams can tank seasons so that they get a higher draft pick. So there's a justification of a team to do really badly in a season, for example, so that they can get like good draft picks. So there's a lot of different things in play here in American sports. But if you apply that to European football or English Premier League, the problem is that in football, especially in European football, the mentality is the biggest thing. This is one of the things that I have really observed from very top managers, more be it Mourinho or you know, Pep Guardiola, and especially Klopp, because at the end of the day, you are buying human beings. The skills will be there, the star power will be there, but if the mentality is not right, it's very difficult to build a team from there. If you watch the series Ted Lasso, also, you know, you get a lot of that. Mentality is a big part in football, and that's what Ed Woodward and the Glazers like did not get, or maybe did not care about. So you had plenty of players who were like big brand names but did not fit in mentality wise, and slowly you kept buying and compensating, and none of those players did well, you know, in that toxic machine that Manchester United had become. Even players with good mentality got affected and infected, and that's what caused this, and it's come to this now. So I feel that it's again a cycle. Manchester United will definitely come back to the top sooner than later, maybe. I hope not, but you never know. But yeah, so I think currently Sir Jim's interview was very interesting as well. The stadium they're trying to do, you know, it's not the right message to the fans, but taking objectivity into account, you know, like they're trying to build from the youth, by the young players, you know, suffer a little bit, because this cannot continue. This system of like, you know, doing well one season, you know, covering the cracks, it's just patchwork. That's not going to work. But the direction now that is in they're in, hopefully, if for them, if Amarim is the right person, he will try to build it from ground up. And the problem in football is no one gets a lot of time, but he will have to get the time. And the other problem is the British media and the media, global media, like, you know, there's Manchester United sells. The moment Manchester United is in a headline, it will sell. So there's a lot of toxicity around. So there are certain institutions in the world where you cannot do badly for too long, like Real Madrid, you cannot. Los Angeles Lakers, you cannot, right? So there are certain institutions in this world, sporting institutions, you cannot do badly for too long, and because there's too much pressure. So there somehow needs to be a miracle where, you know, Manchester United has to figure out to have the patience to back the manager, and then, you know, see where it goes. Essentially, like, I would say Newcastle, for example, is doing it in the right way, where they have this manager, Eddie Howe is a really good manager. They're getting the team into a spot. Now, I don't know, Eddie Howe might take the next step, but it's like slowly steadying the team, like making good recruitments, setting the mentality, and from there they'll do the jump because they can afford to. Now, Newcastle is one of the richest clubs in the world, right? So United has to approach that like as if they have new money, right? Whatever money that they have. I obviously did not address a lot of things, right? Like that, what Sir Jim said in his recent interview, the increase in ticket prices, the state of the club in terms of the lack of money they have, everything is there. But I think they have enough in there to build a foundation. They suffer a lot, a little bit, you know, come 8th, 7th, 9th, 10th, 11th for 3-4 seasons, but build from there, by kind of building the team with the right mentality, with the right manager, having the right principles, obviously firing long-serving staff in the club, and then you know, doing pay cuts for charities, not helping at all. So I don't know how much faith you can have in that, but it is promising to see that they are really looking towards the youth, in terms of Dorgu and Heaven. Those are good signings, and that's the right direction. No one should hold Manchester United right now to the pedestal that they were part of, rather than look at it objectively. But obviously, the media is not going to do that. But yeah, it's kind of mixed in terms of the direction the club is going. But the best bet, in my opinion, is to hold on to Amorim, let him do his thing, trust his process, take in 3 to 4 years of suffering, relative suffering, right? And then go from there and see what happens. And maybe Manchester United will rise again, which I really don't want. And I'm really enjoying this period, honestly, as a Liverpool fan. But that's my 2 cents on this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Please help grow my channel. I really want you guys to participate in the comments as well. Let me know what you think and where this club is headed. Good day.